You're listening to the Do Something More podcast, and this is episode 3 with Ellen-Anita Olson and the work she does with Little Free Libraries. Welcome to the Do Something More podcast, a service-oriented show where we highlight the helpers who inspire us all to do something more. I'm your host, Melissa Draper. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Do Something More. And today I have my good friend, Ellen-Anita Olson, who's going to be talking to us about free little libraries. So Anita, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to tell you about Little Free Libraries.
Okay, well, first, I want to just have you tell us a little bit about yourself and also your love of reading that you've had your entire life, I know.
I have loved reading since I read my first book and have not been without one since. I raised my 5 children and went back to school and became an elementary school teacher, and then got a master's degree, and then in education, and then a specialty with mathematics, and then I went and got a library media science degree. So I taught for 10 years, and then I was a librarian for 9 years, and now I am retired.
That's great. And yes, I have been in some of the libraries you had when you were a librarian. They were always beautifully organized, and you could see your love of reading there. So thank you so much for sharing that. So I would love to hear a little bit now more. We're going to talk about these little free libraries. Just give us a little background on how you got involved with all of that, how it started and became part of something that you do.
When I was teaching and students needed to do research and books weren't available in the school library that they needed, I asked them to go use the public library. But about half my students lived outside of the city limits and could not use the public library without paying huge fees. So it became a pet peeve of mine to make sure to put books in the hands of children all over, that shouldn't be a problem if they could use the library. And I was on the state committee, and somebody talked about little free libraries and wondered if any of us would be interested, and I was. So I learned all about it. I signed up. It's a Little Free Library. It's an international nonprofit, and you can sign up and register your little library. They send you a sign, and you can actually find them on the maps. They're all over. And the goal is to put books into the hands of children to make sure all children have access to books, and maybe they will become good readers and develop a love for reading. Right now, about 30% of adults in the United States don't read or write above 3rd grade level. So the goal is to raise that and have children learn to love to read from an early age, and to put a book in every child's hands. So we're trying. We run, my husband and I, we run 2 little free libraries, and one we've had for 9 years now, I think. And we fill it up probably once a month. And the other one, pretty much, we'll go out there 4 or 5 times a year, but people seem to keep it running. They take a book and leave a book. But in the first one, they take a book and they must keep them. They must be treasures.
Which isn't always a bad thing, right?
No, it's a good thing. We like it. We're glad they are enjoying the books.
Yeah, so I love that. I want to go back to this. All started as a teacher when you realized you had a population of your students that didn't have the same access to books and to those materials as some of your other students did. Is that right?
That's correct. And it was frustrating for those families that maybe couldn't afford the huge fee to the library to make books accessible to their students. So I came up with all kinds of ways to put books in their hands. And when this opportunity became available, I learned about it. I jumped right onto it, and I get books for the little free libraries by having book drives. I've had them at my schools, and teachers that have children growing out of books for younger children will bring in their old books, and they are recycled this way. And the first year we did the little free library, the state really wanted little free libraries, the state office of education, all over to make books available for children. And they encouraged librarians to do like a writer's workshop, or I called mine young authors, at our schools, and they would publish the best stories that year. And one of my students had her book published, her story published, and it was put in the little free libraries in Utah. And that was kind of cool that she wrote it and illustrated it, and it was quite original. And it's just a fun thing to do. And I put a notice like on Facebook for that city when I have refilled the library, so they can go and get books. And we've just refilled one today, and it was almost empty, and it only been like 3 weeks.
Wow. Well, at least you know they're being loved and used, right?
Yeah.
So you after you got on doing these, you got educated on how to put that together. Is it in a little spot, in a little building? How do you organize and put it all together so that it works there in the community? What's kind of the logistics of these?
Oh, it wasn't easy to get permission from the cities to put up a little free library. The first one took about a year, and researching different places, asking questions of different city leaders, mayors, and getting a no every single time. And then I got a call from a lady at the Senior Citizen Center in one city, and she said, "You can put it up outside the Senior Citizen Center. We'll have it." So I did. We had one made and put it out there, and it's been very successful, and it's kind of out of the weather, so which is good. And the other one, I had a student that came to me and said, "I need a Eagle Scout project. Could I build you a little free library and put it up?" So by the time he had built it, I had another place to hang it. And he went out with his whole family and put it up, and we keep it filled with books. And it's a very big one, so it's nice. And they are both under overhangs, so kind of out of the weather. But you have to get permission from the city that you're going to put it up in, or permission from a person to put it on their property. So we have seen now little free libraries all over. We were even up in Glacier National Park going in towards the Canadian border, just through a forest on the dirt road. And right out there in the middle of the forest was a little free library. That was exciting.
That's so fun. I love that. So it sounds like I know the communities you have these in are more rural communities, and they don't have libraries or access to some of the same things that maybe a city or a larger community would have. And so these can be a great way for those individuals to access books and reading and all those types of things.
Yeah, they don't have public libraries. One of the cities has a bookmobile, but people were complaining that it just came at times when they couldn't meet it. And so they have really liked the little free libraries. And when I put one up, I sent a notice to the local school, and they sent flyers home with all the students. And I had the information put in the city newsletter that goes out with the utility bill. And so to get a lot of, let people know about it. And so far, it seems to have been a good thing for like 9 years. So we'll keep doing it.
You've had to be really tenacious. to kind of make these successful and make them keep going. I can tell just in the effort that you've put in that this how much this cause means to you, how important it is to you.
Well, I feel very strongly that children need to have access to books, good books, and parents need access to books to read to their children to foster this love of learning and love of reading, and hopefully they'll become lifelong learners.
I love that. So in these little libraries, do you put just certain genres, or is there a wide range of the kind of books that you try to put in there? Or is it mostly just what you get from donations, or do you try to put in different types of books?
Well, I also read and review children's books preschool through grade 12, and some of those go in there. Any kind of book that is good for children, starting with preschool age children. And so some are picture books, some are board books, some are novels, and novels for different ages. So I try to keep all age groups, books for all age groups in the little free library at the same time. So some of them seem to be very popular, and they're books that I have read and love myself. So I know that they have been a hit with both myself and my students. So they've got a good track record.
So is it kind of just on your honor with these? You mentioned some of them you have to fill up a little more, and some the books find their way back. Is that generally how it works? Is it's on your honor to borrow it and put it back or to share it?
Yeah, it's they're free to take them. It has a little sign on it, it says little free library, and it has a number that you can type in and get the exact location on it on the internet. But it says take a book, leave a book, and they're welcome to just take the books if they love them. I think it's great that they keep them.
And they have those books in their home.
Yeah. Yeah, then a lot of people love it. So especially the one is very well used. So it's exciting for my husband and I to keep doing this. But we love doing it. We're readers, and we just want to see children have access to books, even if they are out in rural areas and there are no libraries, or they might have a library at their school, but it's only open during school hours. And some places, the school libraries are only open like twice a week for a couple of hours. So I just think it's great that there's so many little free libraries, and they're in 110 countries, and there's over 150,000 little free libraries. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. And it sounds like it's pretty easy to go on and learn how to set one up if someone's interested in setting something up like that in their own community.
Yeah, it absolutely is. The first one I did, my husband was going to build it, and then we had a death in the family. And when we came back from the funeral, then I got a call from a friend that's a librarian at East High School, or was a librarian at East High School in Salt Lake City. And she said, my woodshop teacher built one for you. Come pick it up. So that was awesome. So we painted it and put a window in it and went and hung it up and took pictures and put it in the paper and sent out notices in the utility bill news letter that they have, and flyers at the school. So everybody's been very good to help out and get information out.
Yeah, I love hearing all the ways you've had individuals help you make these a reality with Eagle Scout projects and woodshop projects and just donating books that they have to donate. So, do you have any other fun stories or interesting things that you've heard from those that have benefited from these libraries that you've put out?
No, just that one time a school secretary called me and said they wonder, are you going to put new books out there? And so immediately we went that day. But so people must like it, and I'm just happy to be able to do it. I think it's a great thing, and I read everything I can get my hands on. So it's good to see that other people do too.
Yeah, anyone that knows you, Ellen-Anita, knows that you love reading and you love books. And I love to see that you've taken something that's been so important to you your whole life and now found a way to bless other lives with that gift of reading. Any other advice you would like to give to someone that may have that same passion for reading and want to help foster it in their community or want to start and begin something like this or to help others find that love of reading as well?
Yeah, I would say log into Little Free Library, and they have plans, everything, or you can just build it however you want. Some are quite fancy, look like little miniature mansions, and paint it any kind you want, and just get permission to put it up somewhere and make sure you keep books in it. For me, it's been a great support from the teachers in my own city and neighbors that want to get rid of their early childhood books that their children have outgrown, and they're gently used and nice. So I've had great support that way. I would say go for it. It's awesome.
Well, thank you so much. Anything else you would like to add?
No, just keep reading. There's so many good books. Can't even get my hands on all of them. Don't have time to read all of them, but I read about a novel a day plus picture books. So I try to keep it up.
Yeah, your record of reading is impressive, but I love to see that joy that it brings to you. So, well, thank you so much, Ellen-Anita. It's been great to talk to you today and to learn a little more about little libraries.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for putting the word out there. I think it's great. So yeah, just look up Little Free Library, and it's easy to do and doesn't really cost you anything other than maybe the gas to go out there wherever it is. But people are very happy. I have requests now from another city that wants me to put up a Little Free Library. So we'll research that and see how that works.
Well, hopefully it will be a little easier to put it up than it's been in some of the other places. So,
well, it's a rural place. It's quite far away from where I live, probably about an hour and a half. So we're checking it out. They don't have a library out there, and it's very few people, and it might be a good thing for that community.
definitely. Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate having you here on the show.
Thanks, Melissa.
Well, that was my conversation with my friend Ellen-Anita Olson. I just love talking to her about books. Everyone around here knows that if you want a good book recommendation, especially maybe for one of your children, she is the place to go. And I just love seeing that joy that reading brings to her and having that conversation. You could tell how passionate she is about sharing that joy with others and especially with children and making sure that they have the access to books that they need. And I loved speaking with her and feeling that passion as well, and hope you did as well in this interview. If you would like to learn more about Little Free Libraries, I will put a link to their website in the show notes. Their website has all sorts of information. Whether you want to find and access one in your community, you can do that there, or whether you want more information on how to set one up yourself. It also has a lot of that as well. So the link will be in the show notes. And if you want to see what one of Ellen-Anita's Little Free Libraries look like and you haven't yet, it is on our social media page this week. You can see a picture of one of her Little Free Libraries. And so I would just remind you, if you haven't yet, feel free to follow us on social media. We're on Instagram at dosomethingmore.podcast and on Facebook at the Do Something More podcast. So you can follow us at either of those places and get updates on the new shows that we'll be playing each week. So thanks again for joining us today. I'll see you next time.